Global tech outages linked to Microsoft and CrowdStrike causing widespread business disruptions, including at the big banks. Bloomberg's Sonali Basak has more. Hey, Sonali.
Good morning, John. The first thing I thought when I woke up this morning was, could you imagine if this were to happen during the COVID times? How much activity has moved online for the banks and how much they have invested in cloud infrastructure, public and private, but many of those banks relying now on the private cloud infrastructure seeing these outages. How is it playing out? At JPMorgan, for example, some staffers were unable to log on. At hedge funds, they have not been able to process certain trades across many funds, across the world, by the way. At different banks, think Hong Kong, South Africa, Singapore, you have seen issues both with trading desks as well as employees able to log on. Some people had to go home in Hong Kong, certainly in London as well. I would also mention one big deal as well. The LSE Group, which is the parent of the London Stock Exchange, reported issues with preventing news from getting published. The RNS news service, very important here, 350,000 announcements a year, 75% of all price-sensitive news. Think deal making. If you were announcing a deal this morning, this would have been a massive problem for you. And then not to mention the commute issues. If you're just trying to get to work in London, in Hong Kong, or in New York, of course, the systems are all online, but getting information about them might be difficult. If you were off on a business trip, forget about it. If you were not flying private, for example, you might be stuck in an airport right now.
Well, presumably a lot of those banking executives are able to do that, Sonali, but not to pick on them because there hasn't been any reporting on Citi having issues, but just to take them as an example, Citi has been hit in the past with issues integrating some of their old and some of their new IT systems together. Considering we've had issues like that in the past, is it a problem that some of these large financial institutions, which regulators look at really closely, have as simple of problems as not being able to log on in the morning?
And yeah, and that's kind of why I was saying, imagine this happening at a time where people couldn't go into work, right? Because there needs to be an online solution. And to the point that you're making, a lot of the problems that Citigroup had were legacy financial systems. They were legacy technology issues, Danny. This is the new way of doing business. And there have been a lot of warnings about what it would mean if there were, and by the way, CrowdStrike had said this is not a cyber attack. That's the good news here. It wasn't an attack on these banks or these financial institutions directly or their balance sheets, their consumer funds. But the issue here is the normal way of doing business, moving money around the world. To your point, to mention Citigroup, very smart because they move more money around the world than anybody else. And so if you're trying to make a simple transaction, what happens if your bank can't make that happen for you and they're connected to Microsoft? We don't know exactly which bank is working with Microsoft on what issues and what issues at Microsoft are impacting which banks at this moment. We are still looking to find that out in contact with all the banks. But to the point here, they're more connected. They have invested very heavily in cloud, and this is one way that things could go wrong.